Good morning students. In the previous class we have discussed the single input single output system and how to obtain the transfer function for this SISO system. Now today we are going to see about the MIMO system. MIMO is nothing but multiple input multiple output system. MIMO is nothing but multiple input and multiple output system. That is, the number of inputs at the U of S is going to be more than 1. That is, it is greater than 1. And even the output Y of S is going to be greater than 1. Then only it will become a multiple input, multiple output system. Now, you need to obtain the transfer matrix. So, rather than obtaining for a single input, single output system, in this problem, you are going to obtain the transfer matrix, or you can consider it as a transfer function for the MIMO system given by x dot of t is equal to ax of t plus bu of t. Y of t is equal to cx of t. So from this matrix it is understood that d is equal to 0. How we can identify it is the problem representing your multiple input and multiple output. So looking at the problem, you can see here u1 u2. It means that the number of input you have your input. So in the input it is your MIMO system. MIMO means you have many inputs. So the input is represented with u and you have many output. The output is also represented with the y. In between we have a state variable. So the number of state variable given in the problem is 2. The number of inputs given in this problem is 2 and the number of output given in the problem is going to be 2. Okay. So here this is the problem. You are going to solve it for the multiple input multiple output system. Looking at this problem, it is very clear that the problem is having 2 input and 2 output, and it is x of t is equal to x dot of t is equal to ax of t. Therefore the matrix A is 0 3 minus 2 minus 5 plus bu of t. Therefore the matrix B is 1 1 1 1. And then output equation, it is the equation representing your output. Output equation is cx of t, and here the d is absent, so d will be equal to 0. Just write all the matrices as below. Next one, you need to identify the transfer matrix. The formula to identify your transfer matrix is C Si minus A inverse into B plus D. D is going to be 0. Therefore, in this, to obtain your transfer matrix, the formula is going to be C Si minus A inverse into B. C is your matrix that you can take from the problem. B is also a matrix that you can consider from the problem. Now you need to obtain what is your Si minus A. So Si minus A can be obtained as S is your singular matrix, that is S is your constant, I is nothing but identity matrix whose order is equal to the order of matrix A. In this the order of matrix A is 2 cross 2. Therefore the identity matrix is also going to be 2 cross 2. We can write it as S100 minus what is your A matrix? A matrix is going to be 0 3 minus 2 minus 5. So Si minus A can be identified as S minus 3. So when you solve this particular matrix, you will be getting 2 S plus 5. So it is the matrix representing Si minus A. So from this you can identify the determinant value. The determinant value for this particular matrix is identified as S square plus 5S minus 6. It is the determinant value. Here you will be getting S plus 2. Here you will be getting plus 3, right? So minus of minus 3 is going to be plus 3 over here. So here I will be getting plus 6. Therefore the determinant value is S plus 2 into S plus 3. So it is the determinant value. Now Si minus A inverse we need to identify. What is your Si minus A inverse? It is nothing but adjoint of Si minus A divided by determinant value of Si minus A. Adjoint of Si minus A is nothing but cofactor of Si minus A transpose. So you need to identify the cofactor matrix for this Si minus A, and you have to identify the transpose. Now to how we will be obtaining the cofactor matrix? We need to obtain what is our C11, what is our C12, C21, C22. So to obtain C11 in Si minus A matrix, we will be cancelling the first row and first column. So which is your Si minus A matrix? It is your Si minus A. So in this, for this we need to obtain what is our C11. C11 means first row first column cancelling means you will be getting S plus 5. Okay. Now what is your C12? C12 is nothing but first row second column. First row second column. So you have obtained C11 as S plus 5. Now you need to identify what is your C12. C12 is equal to minus 1 to the power of 3. That is first row second column you should element. The minor of the element is going to be 2. So where your answer is minus 2. So it is your C12. Next is your C21. C21 means it is minus 1 to the power of 3. Second row first column if you neglect, the minor of the element is going to be minus 3. Therefore C21 is equal to plus 3 as shown here. Next one C22. C22 means it is minus 1 to the power of 4. And second row second column if you cancel, the minor of the element is going to be S. So here I am going to have S, whose answer is yes. It is your cofactor matrix. So the cofactor matrix transpose will be S plus 5 minus 2 minus S plus 5 minus 2 3 S. Okay, this is how we need to obtain the cofactor matrix for Si minus A, adjoint of Si minus A. So after identifying, you have to substitute what is adjoint of Si minus A, determinant value to have Si minus A inverse. Next, substitute the transfer matrix formula. Transfer matrix is equal to C Si minus A inverse into B plus D. Here as D is equal to 0, you will have only C Si minus A inverse into B. C is your matrix that is taken from the problem. B is also a matrix that is given in the problem. It is the matrix that is identified from Si minus A divided by determinant value. So once it is substituted, you are going to get the transfer function as 3s plus 14 divided by s plus 2 into s plus 3, 3s plus 14 divided by s plus 2 into s plus 3, s plus 8 divided by s plus 2 into s plus 3, s plus 8. So when you obtain the transfer matrix, it is y of s, this is nothing but your y of s divided by u of s. If you want to obtain the transfer function, so you will be getting y of s is equal to transfer matrix into u of s. So the above relationship indicates the output depends on both the inputs. Your output y of s depends on both the inputs. Clear? So when you are equating this Si minus A as lambda I minus A equal to 0, then it is going to give a characteristics polynomial. In this, lambda represents the eigenvalues. So lambda, if you substitute lambda I minus A is equal to 0, you will get one equation. That equation is nothing but your characteristics equation. The roots of the characteristics equation will give the values lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3 and so on. So the values of lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, the roots of this characteristics equation will define the stability of the system. So you can write for every values of lambda, you can obtain the eigenvectors. It means that at lambda 1 is equal to so and so value, you have to identify what is your lambda I minus A. Same thing, at lambda 2 is equal to 1 value, what is your lambda I minus A. For this you have to identify the model matrix M1, M2, M3 like that, and from there it is possible for us to identify the model matrix M. Then from this model matrix, if you find, you can identify your M inverse to take the parameter that is required for diagonalization. Now the values of lambda satisfying the characteristics equation are closed loop poles of the system. So whatever values you are identifying, that is lambda is there, right? So it is the eigenvalue that satisfies the closed loop poles of the system. Thus the eigenvalues or the closed loop systems of the poles will define the stability of the complete system. This is how you need to identify the eigenvalues, and eigenvector is represented with m1, m2, m3. So mi is the representation for your eigenvector. Mi is the representation of the eigenvector. The eigenvector for lambda I is written as ck1, ck2, ck3. C stands for the cofactor matrix, and the value of k ranges from 1 to n. Suppose if you consider k is equal to 1, then the model matrix M1 can be identified. M1 is nothing but eigenvector at lambda 1 is equal to S1 value. So I can write it as C11, C12, C13. So this is how we can identify the value of your model vector. Now in this also, suppose if you are having this eigenvector, after identifying the eigenvector, if you are having the matrix as 0, 0, 0 for k is equal to 1, then this is not a valid matrix. So you need to identify M1 for other values of k. It means that before, when you use k is equal to 1, if you get 0, 0, 0, here you have to use C21, C22, C23, and you need to identify your model matrix. Null matrix is not accepted as a eigenvector or model matrix. That is given in the key point. If the cofactors along a particular row gives a null solution, all the elements corresponding to the eigenvectors are 0, then the cofactors along any other row must be obtained. Otherwise, inverse of the model matrix cannot exist. Why? Because when you wanted to identify your M inverse, none of the matrix, that is, if you are having 0, 0, 0, some values here 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1 like this, if you are having, it is not possible for us to identify the M inverse if you have a null matrix. Therefore, it is essential to use the other values of k in cofactor matrix to identify your model matrix. So M inverse AM, it is nothing but your diagonalizing matrix. A, it will give some characteristics equation, and from the roots of the characteristics equation is going to give the eigenvalue. These are all the basics, and next class we will solve some problem under this topic. Thank you, students.